Greetings. Well, it's that time again. It's time for another pay-per-view prediction. I said in the last one I wasn't sure if I was going to do a predictions video for this show, but I thought, what the hell. I need to have the network for a little longer so that I can watch the Undertaker documentary, The Last Ride. And I think part 1 has gone up already. I haven't seen it yet. I'm probably going to do that afterwards, but I need to get this video out. So let's talk about Money in the Bank. That's the predictions video going right now. Or that's the prediction video I'm going to do right now. And I'm glad I waited until the last minute to do this one, because they recently just added 2 new matches to the card. One for the pre-show and one for the main card. The pre-show match is Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. This one's pretty simple to me. Jeff Hardy recently returned again on SmackDown. He's going to fight Cesaro, who's basically just a henchman these days for either... it depends on who he's the henchman for, whether it's Sami Zayn or King Corbin. So, yeah. Jeff Hardy's winning that one, no doubt. So that one's pretty simple. The next one is R-Truth versus MVP, and that's going to be on the main show. I personally think that is a very unnecessary match to have. There's no story there. It was added at the last minute, and we already had a pretty stacked card, so we didn't need that. But we're getting that, and I don't know what else to say, but MVP is basically just there as an enhancement talent these days. He never wins anything. He's just there to make other people look good. So, sorry MVP, you're probably going to lose this one. So I'm going for R-Truth. Alright, so that takes care of the recently added matches. Now let's talk about the big ones. We have 4 title matches and technically 2 Money in the Bank matches, but I'll talk about those at the end, because I'm 99% sure that's going to be the main event. Anyway, we'll start things off with the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. It's a fatal 4-way with the champions, the New Day, defending against Miz and Morrison, defending against the Lucha House Party, defending against the Forgotten Sons. I'm a little torn on this one to a degree, because... I can easily, with process of elimination, eliminate the Forgotten Sons. They just came up. There's no reason to put the tag belts on them this early. Maybe a little bit down the line you could do that, but right now, no. They can be in the match, but they probably shouldn't win the titles just yet. Miz and Morrison just lost the tag title, so I don't see why they should get it back. In fact, I have a small theory that the Miz is going to be the one taking the pinfall in this match, because I feel like there's this... I'm not sure if the story's there anymore after what happened on SmackDown where he picked up a win, but I have a feeling there's a small little story going on where the Miz is responsible for some of Miz and Morrison's biggest losses. I mean, Morrison defended the tag titles at WrestleMania, and then the Miz was involved in another triple threat match, and he was responsible for losing the SmackDown Tag Team titles. And then they had a match against the Lucha House Party, and Miz was the one who took the pinfall in that match, so that Lucha House Party won and got this title shot. So yeah, I have this feeling that he's going to be the one to take the pinfall. As for who's going to pin him, I could consider the Lucha House Party to maybe pick up a win, a surprise victory just out of nowhere, but I'm pretty certain that the winners are going to be, that the New Day are retaining these titles. That's my overall prediction. The New Day are going to retain overall. Maybe with Big E making the pinfall on the Miz, that's what I think. But whether or not that happens isn't important. The predictions are about who's going to win, and my predictions are the New Day are retaining the tag team titles. They just got them, there's no point in taking it off of them. Next up, the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Tamina. By the way, if you're wondering why I keep looking off to the side, it's because my computer's over there, and there's where the match card is, so I just look at that to keep notes. Anyway, this one. I mentioned at the WrestleMania 36 prediction that I said I would laugh my ass off if Tamina actually won the match. That statement has not changed. Even though they've done a good job of building up Tamina as a credible threat in the last few weeks, still, it's Tamina. She has been in the company for over 10 years now, I think. And she's still just not exactly looked upon as one of the big stars of the women's division. So having her win the SmackDown Women's Championship just sounds so ridiculous. I kind of want to see it happen. Just for a laugh. Just to see everyone's reaction. Like, what the fuck? Tamina is the champion? It's like, I would love that. But I'm not an idiot. I know where this is going. I know we're going towards a Bayley-Sasha breakup, which will lead to a title match later on. Maybe at SummerSlam. Perhaps, if that even happens. I mean, it probably will happen because WWE is stubborn and they don't want to close down. But it's not happening in Boston, I can tell you that much. Every indication is that place is closed down until at least September. So, yeah. SummerSlam will be empty arena. I can guarantee you that much. And it should be empty arena. Everything should be empty arena. Or not happening at all. I'm not going to make this into a rant about how people are handling the pandemic at the moment. I'm really disappointed in some people's attitude about the whole thing. But let's not get into that. This is about wrestling. It's not about the pandemic or the world at large here. Anyway, Bayley's retaining. That's my overall prediction because I see a title match between her and Sasha going down the line. Hopefully with Sasha still being a heel at that point. Because babyface Sasha sucks. Anyway, that's my prediction. I'm going for Bayley. Next up, I'm going to go for the WWE Championship match next. It's Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. This one's pretty cut and dry for me. This is... Sorry, I'm dealing with a little bit of sneeze at the moment. I'm not entirely sure how it happened, but whatever. It's not important. Anyway, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. This is technically Drew's first title defense because the match with the Big Show was technically supposed to be a dark match, but then they aired it on Raw, so it wasn't anymore. But ultimately, it is Drew's first defense on a different pay-per-view. So I am just going to say that Drew is retaining here. This is just a way to give him a big win after his title victory, and have him beat Seth Rollins and get a good one with the title. And that's my prediction. Drew is retaining. That's my prediction. If Seth Rollins were to win, that would really not be good for Drew's title reign, and I feel like that's a waste of a title reign for me. Seth, sorry, but you need to lose. Even though you're doing great work at the moment, Drew has to win. Anyway, let's move on to a match that I am so damn torn about as to which way they're going about it. It's Braun Strowman defending his Universal Championship against Bray Wyatt. And I am 99% sure now that it's Funhouse Bray and not The Fiend that he's facing. After the promo I was almost 100% certain, but after the promo on this last SmackDown, I'm starting to wonder if maybe The Fiend is going to show up after all. But everything seems to be pointing towards Braun Strowman fighting against Funhouse Bray, not The Fiend. So, I don't know. I really don't know which way they're going about this. But speaking of not knowing how they're going to go about this, Braun Braun Strowman or Bray. Which one are winning the Universal Championship? At the moment, I am leaning. I'm slightly leaning towards an idea that some people have suggested. That Braun Strowman is going to retain here, since he is fighting Funhouse Bray. Then later down the line, it's going to be Braun Strowman versus The Fiend. That idea has some merit to it, so I could definitely see that happening. But on the other hand, it does feel wrong for Bray Wyatt to lose here. I mean, I know he's only had one match so far as Funhouse Bray, but at the same time, he did win that match, so having Bray lose again, whether it's The Fiend or Funhouse Bray, might not be a good idea. I really don't know where to go about this. Should Funhouse Bray regain, or should Braun retain? I really don't know. You have to excuse me. My nose is acting up really badly right now. Anyway, at the moment, I am leaning towards it being. I'm leaning towards Braun Strowman retaining. But there is another problem with that thought process as well, because if you notice, every single title match so far, I've been leaning towards towards the champion retaining. I said the New Day was going to retain, I said Bayley was going to retain, I said Drew was going to retain. So logic would dictate that either no title are changing hands, or this is the one that will. Oh. And here's the thing, Braun Strowman, you could say, well, that will ruin Braun Strowman's title reign. But here's the thing, Braun wasn't even supposed to be champion. It was supposed to be Roman. But then he had to pull out because of health concerns for his kids. And yeah, that was the official explanation he gave. It wasn't because of his health problems. It was because, he has twins on the way. He has 5 kids. He will have 5 kids after that. Which means that he wants to make sure that his kids are not going to contract anything, which is admirable, certainly. But again, I'm not going to get into that. Point is, Braun was never supposed to be Universal Champion at WrestleMania 36. It just so happened that was the best solution. Goldberg wasn't going to work anymore. They had booked themselves into a corner when Reigns pulled out. They had to just give it to someone, and they chose Braun. So my thought process is Braun. So maybe it makes sense that Braun's title reign will be short, that he will just be a transitional champion. But at the same time, he just beat Goldberg. Clean as a whistle. He crushed Goldberg at WrestleMania. So maybe it just doesn't make any sense for Braun to lose the title now. I am still so torn about this match. I don't know which way to go. I think ultimately I'm going to go with the theory that it's Funhouse Bray. He can lose, and then the Fiend can pick the scraps later on. Because, quite frankly, they did this feud way too early. They should have done some sort of other feud with Braun Strowman as champion before they did this one. This one was bound to happen. It makes perfect sense to do it. But it was way too early, in my opinion. That's WWE in a nutshell. They love to jump the gun on a match, and therefore booking themselves into a corner by jumping the gun. But ultimately, I'm going to say Braun is going to retain. But I am not sure about this one whatsoever. And hey, if Bray ends up winning, I'll be perfectly happy with that. But I'm going with Braun on this one. Purely because I see a future match down the line against The Fiend. So that takes care of things. Now it's time for the 2, technically, Money in the Bank matches. even though it's not actually 2. Because this year's Money in the Bank match is really weird. Instead of a ladder match, instead of a six-man or 6-woman ladder match for a briefcase, instead they have decided to have the ring and the ladders on top of WWE, on the roof of WWE headquarters. And the competitors will start at the bottom, at the ground floor of WWE headquarters, and make their way to the top, going through all sorts of room, be it the training center in WWE headquarters, be it the boardrooms, Vince McMahon's office, if you will. It's all there, and it's all to play for. They can use whatever, and more importantly, this is not going to be 2 separate matches going through the building. Every single competitor, both from the men's and women's match, will compete at the same time. Now, that doesn't specify there's going to be intergender wrestling going on, because they're still fighting for there's still 2 briefcases up there, one for the men and one for the women. But still, the matches are going to be happening at the same time. So it is 2 separate matches happening at the same time in the same area, and it could be some interaction between the 2. I'm going to start with so for the predictions, I'm going to be starting with the women's side of things. The competitors in that match are Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Asuka, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella. However, WWE has made my job much easier, because on Raw, they aired a promo saying next week on Raw, Becky Lynch will confront the winner of the women's Money in the Bank match. So you're basically telling me that someone from Raw is winning the Money in the Bank match. Okay, good to know. Now I can cross out Lacey, Dana, and Carmella from the list immediately. Thanks for that. So it's between 3 people: Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Asuka. I'm going to eliminate Shayna Baszler from that. No, not Shayna. Fuck, what am I talking about? Nia Jax from that list, because I just don't see her winning that briefcase. I have this feeling that between those 3, she has the least to gain by that, and she feels like someone who doesn't need the briefcase to get a title shot. So she can make it through without that, and I feel like her return has been kind of a flop ever since she came back, especially with those matches against Kairi Sane, where she almost injured her completely. So, ugh. Anyway, so that leaves us with Shayna Baszler and Asuka. Now, you guys know me. You guys might know me. I love Asuka to death. She is the best female wrestler of all, in my opinion. I love her to death. She's the best. But being an Asuka fan has also made me aware of how WWE truly sees Asuka. And that is that they never really give her a chance to really be on top of the mountain, unless it's NXT. Because on the main roster, she has been given opportunities, but she's never been able to capitalize on those opportunities. Be it getting a title shot and losing when she really shouldn't, be it floundering in weak tag teams, be it getting a title match, getting a championship, but ultimately having her title reign cut down from under her 2 weeks before WrestleMania. Sorry, still salty about that one. Also, that title reign was also screwed up by the fact that she was absent for a month and had a mediocre feud with Mandy Rose. Anyway, or when she was the women's tag team champion and barely defended the damn belts for quite a while. Yeah, I just don't trust WWE with giving Asuka anything to do at the moment. I would love it if she won this match. I would love it if she won the briefcase, cashed in on Becky and won the title. But therein lies the problem. Becky and Asuka have had a lot of matches in the lead up to WrestleMania. At the Rumble and on Raw a couple of times. It just feels like they've played out that rivalry enough. Whereas Shayna, they've barely started that. Sure, she lost at WrestleMania, but that was one loss. She can probably bounce back from that. And using a briefcase to torment Becky Lynch, then continue the feud from there and cash in and take the championship from her. That sounds more like something they're going to do with her. So yeah, I am leaning towards Shayna Baszler being the one to win the briefcase here. It's sort of a heart versus head thing. My heart is saying Asuka, my head is saying Shayna, and more often than not, I should listen to my head, because my heart usually gets stabbed whenever I go with it. So I want to go for Asuka, but I think it's gonna be Shayna. So yeah, I'm going with Shayna. She's going to get the briefcase in this case. And that leads us to the final match of the night. Well, it's both of them are the final match of the night, but this is the last one listed. Daniel Bryan versus Aleister Black versus Rey Mysterio versus King Corbin versus Otis versus AJ Styles for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This one I am sort of torn on, but let's start by eliminating a few people. Otis, it's way too early to give him any sort of big stake in a world title picture. I like Otis just fine, but I don't think he's ready for the main event picture just yet. Would I like to see him there at some point? Sure. But not yet. I feel like he's just there to do maybe some comedy spots, maybe some interesting scenes, but ultimately he's not going to win. Maybe there'll be some interference from Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville to stop him. Who knows? But at the moment, I'm leaning towards Otis not winning this one. Same thing goes for Daniel Bryan. I have a feeling that because, one, he's won it before, so chances are he's probably not going to win it again. That's not guaranteed, mind you, but that's where I'm leaning towards. Two, again, I mentioned interference. The Artist Collective could probably interfere, that being Cesaro and Shinsuke. I know Cesaro has a match already on the pre-show, but that's the pre-show. He can easily make it to the headquarters by the time he's done with that match. In kayfabe, I mean. I'm pretty sure all of this has been recorded already. Cesaro might interfere. Shinsuke might interfere. Maybe Sami Zayn will finally come back. But, Cesaro and Shinsuke have been helping out Corbin for a while, so maybe they will help Corbin keep Daniel Bryan off his back. Maybe Drew Gulak will get involved and will be a big brawl in one of the rooms or on the top of the ladders. Who knows? But I just don't see Daniel Bryan winning this one. Rey Mysterio, I would love it if Rey Mysterio won this match, because he might get a chance with another chance at winning a WWE Championship and finally getting a longer title reign with it. But I have this feeling that's not going to happen. I feel Rey Mysterio's days in the main event picture have passed him by. Even though he's still going really strong, I just don't see Rey Mysterio winning this one. Sorry. Aleister Black. I know he's a lot of people's favorites to win this match, but I just don't feel like having the Money in the Bank briefcase makes any sense for his character. He's the sort of guy who likes to just kick people in the face and win, pick fights, kick people in the face and win championships that way. Kick someone in the face, win a number one contendership, kick someone in the face and win the title. He's not the sort of guy to just take advantage of something. And especially considering his entrance, where how he just rises up like that, him holding a briefcase just doesn't seem right to me. So, no, I feel like if Aleister Black's going to win a world title, he's going to do so the normal way, not with a briefcase. So that leaves me with two people left. Baron Corbin or AJ Styles. Now, Corbin does have the fact that he's won it before against him, but he had one of the worst cash-ins in the history of the briefcase, so that may not count for much. And he probably could do a lot of stuff being both King of the Ring and Mr. Money in the Bank. And I could see them maybe calling him King Money in the Bank, for all I know. But I have a feeling that's not going to happen. If anything, I feel like there's a chance, like they've been talking about someone going off the roof. The roof is like falling off the roof of the WWE headquarters in that match. I feel like Corbin might be the one to take that plunge. Again, my nose is acting up really bad. Thankfully, this is the last match I can get this video over with. So, yeah, Corbin, I can see maybe being the one to go off the roof. But who's going to win Money in the Bank? My gut says AJ Styles. Sure, he's a last-minute entrant, but so was Braun Strowman. Look what happened to him. So yeah, I think AJ might be the one to do it. Also, the idea of AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre, that sounds like a really good idea. I could definitely see that they could build Drew as this dominant champion and have his title reign come to an end thanks to a sneaky cash-in from AJ Styles. So yeah, I am all aboard AJ Styles being the one to win this one. So I know one argument you could bring up is that that means both winners are from Raw. But may I remind you that in 2018, Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman won Money in the Bank, and both of them were from Raw. So, yeah. It could happen, and I'm very much thinking it's going to happen. I mean, if the thought process is one from Raw, one from SmackDown, then probably Corbin would win the men's one. But my gut is telling me, and my head is telling me, hey, well, everything is telling me, it's going to be AJ. AJ is going to win Money in the Bank, and there you go. Unless they're planning on having Undertaker interfere and set up a rematch between the two of them, which I am more than happy to say yes. Please do. Please do a rematch. I recently heard... They recently had Undertaker on the TV, on the new show they have, which is called The Bump. And he did mention that before they made the Boneyard match because of the circumstances, the original plan was to have AJ Styles versus The Undertaker in an actual in-the-ring match. Maybe there's a chance they can do it again. Have the actual match they were planning on having. I certainly hope so. I want that match to happen inside the ring. Damn it. But yeah. Either way, I'm still going for AJ on this one. I just don't... I feel like AJ is probably going to win this one. So yeah, those are my picks. If you need a reminder, it's Jeff Hardy for the pre-show. It's R-Truth. It's New Day to retain, it's Bayley to retain, it's Drew to retain, it's Braun Strowman to retain, it's Shayna to win the women's Money in the Bank, and it's AJ Styles to win the men's Money in the Bank. So yeah, there you go. I'll see you after the show is over, probably.